how you can use astrology and numerology to get a promotion. So the reason why I even started this video was because a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, an actor from Morocco messaged me saying, what are the best days for me to, land a role? And he's obviously talking about going to the film set, doing an audition, XYZ. I looked at his life path and his energy as a whole and told him these specific days, and then he got the role. I'm going to put the screenshot up somewhere, but yeah, this is kind of why I started it, and I thought it'd be helpful for everyone to know. And the same logic doesn't just work for getting jobs, it's also promotions, salary increases, etc. Now, before I break this down, one thing I need to say is if you're not performing at your job and you're not competent at your role, doing this doesn't work. This isn't magic. It's just a timing system that increases your chances between, let's say, 20 and 40%. And that is something that I want to be clear about. So if you're not performing at your job and you're not competent, please fix up and then come back to the video. So the first thing you need to know is your energy, and that is your life path and your day energy. For this example, let's say the person is a 6 and he's born on the 1st, okay? So from this, so now because you know this, you can then infer, okay, these type of days will be good for him. 15th, 24th. And this is because these days vibrate or interact well with his energy because they're both 6s, right? This is the same for this, right? So that means that the 1st will do well, 10th, 19th, and then obviously 28th because of the 1 energy. Now, the 6 energy typically will be better than the 1, but these are both useful things to know. Now, just from this, you could already say a good day would be the 28th, and especially like this is where there's tiers, right? If you do it on the 28th, that's already maybe, let's say, a 10% boost. This is arbitrary numbers, by the way, but let's say it's a 10% boost. Now, if you add the 28th and then you also do it on a 6 live path day on the 28th, this is when, again, it stacks. Because not only is your 1 energy interacting with the 1 energy of the day, but it's also interacting with the 6 live path of the day because, again, you're double stacking. Now, so for this person, or if this is you, a good day to ask for a raise or you go for a job interview, if you can choose, would be the 28th of any month, and especially if you can do it on a 6 live path day. And in a tangible way, what this means is your words start flowing better. The points that you make hit more because people are already in this type of flow, right? So for example, you being direct and taking action for an interview, because that's your energy and you're doing it on a day that that energy is favored, this is what is actually happening in a tangible way. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, in general, there are 3 days that are really good for this, no matter what energy you have. And this is obviously 28th, number of money, then 8 days, so 8th, obviously 17th, and then 26th. Then the 22nd. Now, the reason why the 22nd is a good day is because it's the number of foundations. And you want to lay good foundations on foundational energy. Good foundation or a good building block would be to go and have that first meeting with your manager and say, yes, John, I'd like to do, and I would like to get a raise, or I'd like to go for a promotion. What are the steps? So that's good. And these are good. Now, it's also not just the days, it can also be the life paths. So again, if it's a 28 life path day, good. The same with 8 and the same with the 22nd. Now, another good way of doing this is, cool, if you're a 7 life path, for example, any good day, top tier day would be, if it's the 7 life path and it's the 22nd, 7 life path because you're a 7 life path, and the 28th, etc. Because you're using your own energy and you're mixing it with a money day. Obviously, these are the money days. This is more of a foundational day. Again, still good. Now, that is part 1 of the puzzle. The next is, what is your manager's energy? Now, is he the same life path as you? Is he an enemy sign to you? Because I haven't spoken about Chinese zodiac, but that's kind of important too. So let's say, for argument's sake, you're a horse, and let's say manager A is a rat. But you have 3 different managers that you can go and speak to about this promotion. Manager A, manager B, and manager C. Manager B is a tiger, and then manager C is a ox. Now, everyone should know who you should go for. You're a horse. These are the rat, tiger, and ox. Now, the reason why I'm also speaking about this is because maybe you don't know their full birthday. Obviously, you should probably ask, but let's just say you know their age. So cool. From this, you would say you go with manager B because he's in the same trine as you. The energy connects better. When you communicate, it feels better. And they're already naturally disposed to liking you without the meritocracy thing. So that's why you would go for tiger. And said for manager B, right? Always ask their energy. Maybe you have multiple managers and that's more useful for this situation because then you can align what your energy is and who it best aligns with out of management. So for example, let's say you have 3 managers, manager A, B, and C. Now let's say none of them are enemy signs. They're all just neutral. So pig, dragon, and then let's say rooster. So let's say they're all that. Then you want to see their energy. So do any of them have 6 energy? Let's say manager B is born on the 6th and he's a 8 life path. Manager A is born on the 3rd and he's a 9. And then manager C is a 5 and then also born on the 1st. Now, in this situation, you would either do B or C. Now, the reason why you do B or C is because they both have your energy. Now, none of them share the same life path as you, but the day energy is where you guys can connect. And I would go for B, and that is because you're a 6 life path, that is your core energy. So you go with the one born on the 6th. So let's go with this example. Now, with this example, manager B is going to be very, very easy to close and get a promotion as long as you're doing good work. And this is because you share the same energy, so they're naturally going to be biased towards you and want you to do well and would like to help you out. Now, you just need to get the timings of the day right. But let's say this isn't the case and you don't even have the ability to choose from multiple managers. Let's say this. What do you do? Because this is the other thing that you need to understand. How are you going to approach the conversation? And because you're essentially selling yourself to your manager and saying, these are the reasons why you need to give me more money, right? So there are different approaches for different life paths. For example, ones. If he's a 1 life path, you should go with a far more direct approach and say, firstly, this is why I should do this. You don't beat around the bush, but you also maybe speak about competition. Oh, you know, I'm better than everyone else, or I've been outperforming everyone else from XYZ perspective in terms of maybe you're making more money for the company. And you say, I'm doing better, that is why you should give me a raise, because they respect competition. And ones tend to be quite honorable and giving, typically. And so if they see that you're doing better and you're actually doing good at your job, that is probably the best avenue to go. Now, let's say they have 2 energy. So this also includes 11s. This is where you go with a far more emotional conversation. And you speak about maybe either bills are hard and I'm struggling financially and I need this, or maybe you don't even, maybe that's not the case because it's not really the best to lie, but maybe you say, oh, I'm thinking of having a kid soon. I really need to start making more money so I can save more. Or maybe you say a house. Or if this is the case, you know, I want to start paying for my mum's bills or my parents' bills, but obviously I need a bit more money. I've been working well at this job, XYZ. That's kind of the approach you go for. Then for threes, you go with a far more jovial, comedic way. You start maybe making a bit of jokes. You start being less serious because you don't want to be serious and uptight with threes because that isn't the approach they like. Depending on how you want to do it too, you can go with a far more creative way. So maybe you show them a mini PowerPoint or presentation. Again, it needs to be quite creative though. But these are kind of the ways you'd go about a 3. With a 4 life path, not 4th, you go with statistics. 4s are structured people. They think about things in a very physical physical material plane way. So this is why statistics are well. So you say, this month I've made X amount of money. Last month I made this amount of money. I am outperforming XYZ. I have made you this much money and you're only paying me 10% of the amount that I'm making you. Can I get a bit more? One thing that I want you guys to understand is this doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the raise immediately, but if you start it on these days, this is the foundations again. So with, for example, 4s, because this might be far more likely to happen with 4s, because they're not really impulsive and they kind of want to stick with the status quo. But this is where you say, oh, if we're not going to do this now, please can we make a plan on what boxes I need to tick for me to get the raise or the promotion? 5 life paths. Now, with these guys, it's kind of similar to the 3s. You do want to do it in a far more unserious way or like more of a jovial way. But maybe, and this is kind of where these guys get more, will relate to you a bit more, is you say, oh, I want to in a few, let's say months time, or in a week, year's time, I want to start traveling. Obviously at the work, you don't want to say you want to leave, but you say, I want to, like in a year's time, I want to go for 2 weeks in my holidays to Japan. So I really want to start, that's kind of my goal. And I need to be earning a bit more so I can save more money, because 5s is the number of travel. They will kind of relate to that and say, oh yeah, in my head, I want to do that too. If he wants to do that, it makes sense, right? And these are the ways that you want to approach it. 6 life paths, this is probably the easiest one, because this angle, it's the family aspect. It's either if you're single, I want to start dating, but you know, I'm not really financially where I want to be. So this is kind of why I want to have that raise. Or you say something about maybe if you've got a girl, I want to get married, I want to save up for the honeymoon, XYZ. If you have a family, you say, I'm saving up to buy a house. Or again, you can do the same angle where it's my mum, I want to pay for my bills for my mum or my sister. So this is kind of why I really need a raise and I want a raise, and I've been doing really good at my job. Obviously, you still do say, you know, I've been performing well, I've made this much, whatever, whatever. Maybe it's not even I've made this much money. I'm really good at, I don't know if you're doing hospitality, I'm really good at doing tables. XYZ, I always get tips. Why is that? It's not a coincidence. Also with these, the 6s, you don't want to be direct and say, I want to raise, or you kind of not beat around the bush, but you can't be as direct as what I'm trying to say. 7s, with 7s, it's far more of a intellectual way. So again, the stats is important. So if you're doing, I don't know, sales or cold calling, it can also just be billing, but it's also, this is how hard I work. No one works harder than me. I am making 500 calls a day. XYZ, I'm actually grafting. Please, can I get rewarded for this? Or again, if it's something else, you kind of want to use the KPIs for your advantage. 8s are very, very, let's say, cold-hearted, and they are very kind of calculated and stuff like that. So this, again, you have to come with a money aspect in terms of, if you give me this raise, this is how much I can give to you, more, X, Y, Z. You want to go from a money aspect and call, because realistically, when you ask for a raise, the company is losing profits, but you're going to say, but if you give me this platform, I will 10 times this, X, Y, Z. That's kind of how you want to approach it. 8s also, let me say, because it is about business, you do want to go with the angle of, cool, if you're not going to give me a raise, you have to do this in the right way too, but I will be looking elsewhere because I know my talents or I know my worth. You don't want to say it like that, but that is kind of what you want to say subtly. Subtly? Yeah, subtly. Oh, fuck. 9s, again, because these guys are these guys are mirrors of their environment, you kind of want, I mean, you should do this anyway, but you want to mirror how they are. So if they're reserved or they speak quietly, you want to go with that. Then you want to speak about endings. And the way you speak about endings is you say, I feel like this chapter of my life is closing. Whatever it is, maybe you're deputy manager, you say, I think I've pretty much outgrown this role and I want to close that chapter. I want to start something new, X, Y, Z. That's kind of how you want to go for it. And you also tell them, especially if it's more of a project role, the tasks you have completed, the tasks you have finished. Can't have this alone, no. This is game. Fuck the how to ask for a raise, bro. This is how you go about portraying your energy. It's all about that. Anyway, one additional thing you should always think about is the compatibility between your energy and your company's energy. So if you are enemy signs with your company, this whole thing shouldn't even be a thought in your mind. It really should be how astrology and numerology allows you to get a new job, because most likely, long term at least, staying at the company is probably not the best idea. But again, if there's compatibility within it, then that's kind of also how you can see that you do have a future at the company. And if your aspirations are right, you can get to the very top. Anyway, another thing is what time period you're in, because this also affects probabilities for promotion. For example, if you're in an 8 personal year, if you don't know how to calculate your personal year, it's literally your month, the month that you're born in. So let's say it's August plus the day that you're born in. So for this case, it would obviously be the 1st. So you do 1 plus 8, that's 9, and then you add it to the year that you're in. So in this case, because it isn't August yet, you would be in a 9 personal year because you do 1 plus 8, that's 9, and then you add the year's energy and you use 2025 because 2026 August hasn't yet arrived. So you'd be in a 9 personal year. Now, in this context, it's the 8 personal year. And what that means is your disposition to getting a raise is already quite high. So the percentages are stacked against you. This is probably, I don't know, let's say a 15% boost on you going and ask for a promotion and you getting it. So there's this. However, there are also certain personal years that don't allow you to really, I mean, it just lowers the percentage. For example, and this is for a different thing, but a 7 personal year. Now, the reason why a 7 personal year is kind of shit is because 7 is about detachment from the physical realm. Obviously, money and promotion status, this is all stuff that isn't related to the 7. And you also have to accept, you shouldn't be angry, but this is telling you, the 7 personal year, to not focus on that stuff. You thinking about getting promotion, your priorities are wrong. This is where self-discovery is the most important, learning. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to say. So good time periods is the 8, 22nd personal year, and then obviously 28 personal year. Again, for the same reason that the days. Now, there's also, this is the macro theme, but then there's the micro theme. Not just about personal years, it's also what universal month or personal month are you in. Personal month is, let's say again, it's an 8 personal year. Then each month has a certain energy. So it would be 8, you do 8 plus the year that we're in, so 2026, so that's 1, 9, plus the month that we're in. So for example, a really good day or a month for an 8 or someone that's in an 8 personal year to ask for a promotion would be obviously August. And the reason why is because you do 8 plus 1, that is 9, plus his 8 personal year, again, that's 17, so it's 8. So the themes of money, or the 8, would be in August. Now this would be different, and then that is kind of where you plan, okay, cool, I want to get a promotion. If I want to line everything up, it should be in August. Now, the other way you can look at it, and this is kind of the way I would look at it, because you don't need everything to line up, especially if you are really doing good at your job and you almost deserve it now. You have the conversation on a day that's favorable for you, like the 22nd of whatever your life path is. Let's say that's this month, then you do it this month. And most likely what will happen and transpire is you won't get the promotion that month, but it'll be in August or something like that. Could obviously be different, and there's different situations, but this is kind of how it goes. Then obviously the same thing with enemy years, shit like that. Other personal years that are quite intriguing for potential promotions, but it can also be something that's a bit more turbulent. And it would be 1 personal years, 1 as a whole, because again, it's new beginnings, is also about power in a sense and leadership, right? So if you're asking for a promotion, the likelihood of you then becoming into a leadership role or a role where you are managing people increases, like realistically. So again, that would mean that 9 personal year can be good for promotions, or it could just be you're getting fired or getting a new job because it's endings. So you might be ending the position that you're in, and hopefully it means you get raised. Obviously, this is, I wouldn't really say 5-2 is quite good because it's, again, it's change. Anyway, let me bring this back to where it started. As I said, my Moroccan client, the actor, he is the one that kind of inspired this whole thing, because then I realized, well, not realized because I knew before, but I was realizing people would like to know this, it would be useful, and it actually does work. Again, I'll show you the screenshot. One other bonus tip is wear navy. Now, the reason why you should wear navy is because there's been studies that wearing navy makes you more trusting. And again, trust always is useful in a situation like a promotion or getting a raise. And the reason why trust is useful, if you don't know why, is because people want to know and feel secure in the fact that if you give them more money, they will do more stuff and they'll generate more money for you. Because that is kind of what this all is about. Now, if you don't want to calculate all the days for yourself, I've done it and I've made it geared for career and business. The link in the bio will be where it's a numerology calendar giving you the most powerful days, all the days mapped out, what the life path is for that day, and what you should be doing on those days. And that will be linked in the description. I also do a full chart and numerology analysis for career. So if you're interested in that, then link in bio. or link in the description, and you can find out a bit more about that. Now, if you want to know extra tits and tats or hidden info about numerology and astrology, go to my free WhatsApp channel. Again, that will be linked in the bio or description, sorry. And if this was useful, subscribe, because I will be continuing doing content like this, practical content for numerology and astrology. And goodbye.